of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Would everyone please bow their heads? Dear Lord, we thank you for bringing us here tonight. We ask that you look over this council and give them the wisdom and advice to do the right thing for the city of Newman. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins. Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor Caden.
Present, thank you. Item 5, declaration of conflicts of interest. I don't think we have any this evening. Go to item 6, ceremonial matters, employee recognition.
Yes.
Kasum, please.
Yep.
Good evening, City Mayor and council members. I'm really glad to announce these good news for everyone. Our 2 public works staff recently passed the exam for the State of California, the Grade 1 Water Treatment Certificate. They worked really hard on site every day. However, they put some extra hours to study on this certificate over the weekend and night. So they passed with a really good grade. Now they are advancing our water system with more knowledge, more qualification for the city of Newman. I'm pretty sure that this certificate proved that our staff working hard and voluntarily work on extra certificate and qualification for the city of Newman. All the citizens will get the benefit through this certificate. So there are 2 gentlemen, the unsung heroes behind the scene, working hard every day. So that's why I'm standing here. So City Mayor, could you?
Yeah, sure. Great. Well, I'm have both of them come up. Greg and Rory, come on up. It's a great accomplishment, and as like Kasum said, it benefits the entire city of Newman, and to ensure that our water system is running properly. And I'm sure you guys have to learn all of the chemicals and do the right tests and all that. So, Greg, on behalf of the city of Newman and the whole entire city, we appreciate your hard work and your dedication to the city of Newman. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Roar, same thing. Thanks for your hard work and dedication to the city. We certainly appreciate it, and as myself and the rest of the council and the rest of the staff appreciate as well as the city of Newman. Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Mayor, may I just add that these are 2 of our most hardworking, all of our public works employees and all our employees are hardworking. These 2 gentlemen are out in the trenches, literally in the trenches, in the heat, all throughout the year, whether it's cold in the winter or hot in the summer. They're out there doing the work, and they're doing it, and they're doing a great job of it. And these are 2 of our future leaders in our public works department. So, as city manager, I'm very happy to have them both on board. I think it's a real testament to the quality of the employees that we're starting to have in our community. So, I hope they have a long, successful career here with the city of Newman.
Outstanding. Congratulations, gentlemen. Congratulations. Okay. Go to item 7. Items from the public, non-agenda items. Any member of the public wish to address the council? Now's the time to do it. Seeing none, we'll go to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings and ordinances except by resolution, and resolution except by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of the June 24, 2014 meeting. D is authorize city manager to execute contract with Westside Narrows for use of Barrington Park as a practice facility.
I'll make a motion we approve the consent calendar as is.
I second that motion.
Been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with Councilmember Hutchins absent. 9 is a public hearing, and we don't have any this evening. 10 is regular business. Report on Title III, Business Regulations, Chapter 3.03, Peddlers and Solicitors. Stephanie?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is information regarding the Municipal Code Section 3.03100-B. This section prohibits door-to-door solicitation within the city limits. Adopted in 1937, it was adopted after the Green River, Wyoming ordinance, which regulates door-to-door salesmen. On June 18th, Solar City contacted the city regarding an amendment or an exemption from said code section. A representative also spoke to the city council at our last meeting on June 24th. Staff has since met with legal counsel regarding options pertaining to Section 3.03. It was determined that granting an exemption would create an unfair advantage for Solar City and could trigger an equal protection challenge to the ordinance, because other vendors would then say that they were at a disadvantage, that they don't have said exemption. 3 options have been identified for your consideration. Option 1 would be eliminate 3.03100.b in its entirety, which is essentially the subsection that prohibits the door-to-door solicitation only. The second option would be to revise or update Chapter 3.03 in its entirety. Variations of the revisions can include registration, time limits, background checks, among other things. Those are all listed in your staff report. The third option would be status quo, no action, no changes to the code. In regards to Solar City's request and in an effort to update our code, staff does recommend either option 1 or 2. However, we await your direction. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments for Stephanie? Well, I'll just say I don't like option 1. I think it's a necessary evil. I think we have to have some kind of protection. I personally hate being bothered by door-to-door listeners. I just don't like people coming to my door knocking, trying to sell me stuff. And I don't think our residents like it as well. And it was kind of a topic of discussion at the Senior Awareness Day. The chief kind of fielded some questions from a lot of the seniors who don't like being bothered or feel like they're being scammed at times, even though these could be legitimate companies, legitimate employees. The seniors are had a lot of questions regarding door-to-door salesmen, and we just flat told them, as well as the chief told them, that we have ordinances that prohibit it, and that they should call the police department should they be bothered and have people knock on their doors trying to sell them things. So I think based a lot on that conversation that we had last week or 2 weeks ago with those seniors, I don't know that I could sit here and say, okay, now we're going to change it. Now we're going to allow people to come knocking on their doors, because it obviously doesn't exempt seniors from being hassled. And that's just kind of my take on it. So,
You know, one of the things I'm really concerned about is the day and the time of hour. Like, I had someone come to my house on Sunday at 9 o'clock at night, and that should never happen. And I just, it's unfortunate when something like that happens. So I don't know how you can put something into in something like that prevents people from coming at night like that. I think they just did it on their own. I don't think they're checking with the city and see if they have a permit to even do that. They just do it. And so I don't know how you stop that sort of person.
It would be difficult to police it in its entirety, obviously, but if people do call the police department, they would respond accordingly.
any other council comments?
No, I have none.
Council direction?
Okay.
Michael, what do we need to do?
Are we,
Well, we're just looking for council direction
That's what I
today.
thought.
Yeah. Our recommendation is either 1 or 2. If we had our preference, staff would probably recommend number 2. And we would bring this back to you at a different date for you to evaluate those, give direction, and then after that direction, we would prepare the ordinance amendment that would be necessary to enact whatever standards the council feel comfortable with. We would work with our legal counsel to make sure that whatever provisions we place are consistent with state law and case law.
Two.
I would be in favor of revision 2.
Yeah, I would too.
Well, with the exception of the times, I think 8 o'clock at night is too late. I wouldn't see, I would not support anything going further than 6 o'clock in the evening myself.
Mayor, we could also one of the other options would be similar to our parks, dusk to dawn, an hour before dawn.
Well, the only problem I have with that, Michael, for me, is you can tell them you got to stop at dawn. They're not going to. They're just not going to. And I think if we put a specific time limit on it, and if they violate it, then they're done. Their license is pulled, and they don't come back, period. I'm just really concerned for vendors soliciting door to door. I've never liked it, and I don't think it's a good practice. You know, they can get business license. I don't know how you conduct vendor background checks. Does the company do it? Do we do it? You know, is it more time that we put on our police department to do it? You know, who conducts the vendor background checks?
That's something that we would have to work out. Obviously, I think we have live scan. That could be a potential method that we could use. We would work with our law enforcement, our chief here to.
Chief, how does that impact your department? I mean, if now you got to deal with, if we go forward with this, now you have to schedule appointments for vendors to come in and get fingerprinted, and maybe they're going to drop off 15 people in town.
Yeah, you know, we do have current, you know, like the ice cream vendors that do go around. They come in for the live scan, and we make sure they're clear, and they get a little badge to wear before they're allowed to go out and sell their items. It would be something similar to that. We would probably maybe limit the number of employees that are allowed into the city, you know, so they would have to be background checked by us, our department, receive a badge, so with it has a picture on it and everything, so they can be identified, so they can't just pass around the badges. So maybe a limit of the number of people that they are allowed to bring into the city as employees.
Okay, with the exception of item B, I would like to see the time restriction more nailed down. And I would go along with, I guess I would go along with just some suggestions. I won't be totally closed to it, but I'll be open to some suggestions. I would like to see something else, a little bit more detailed, I guess.
On the revisions list, just so for your notation, the references in parentheses mean that we already have some language to that effect in the code. It would just need to be updated
Yeah.
according to case
Yeah.
law and current statutes.
I say my only reservation is I'm concerned with the seniors being bothered.
Mayor, how about we, staff take a stab at it, come back in an informal type setting like this, we'll have another conversation, we'll do a little bit more research, propose some more stuff to you, and then you can make a final decision if whether you support that kind of stuff before we actually come back with the proposed ordinance.
Okay, I can go along with that.
Would that,
Yeah.
would that make you comfortable
Yeah.
with it? Okay.
And again, it's no reflection on solar energy or anybody else. It's just, you know, I think, for me, it's just looking out what I think is in the best interest of our entire community, so.
Yeah, the current applicant, you know, is it's a publicly traded company. They're
Right.
a well reputable company. Unfortunately, not all the companies that come in and do this have that kind of reputation, so
Right.
that's what we're trying to protect against.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, so staff will bring something back to council at a later date then. Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Bowden. Item 11, items from District 5 Supervisor Jim D. Martini. Thanks, guys. You can stay if you like, but if you want to leave, that's cool too. There you go. All right, thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members and staff. I just have a few things for you tonight. Last time I was here, I was asked in the status of that Riddle mine, so I did check that out. Since I hadn't heard anything about it in at least a year. According to planning staff, that project is going to be withdrawn in its present form. It does not meet the criteria from the Bureau of Mines for reclamation. County had the same problem with it, that they just couldn't just dig a hole and walk away from it. So that project is going to be finished in that form. and it may come back as a different project in a smaller format. That decision really hasn't been made by that company yet. Apparently, Calaveras Cement is just a small part of a larger company. I didn't realize that. So somebody else has to make the decision on whether or not to bring it back. If they were bringing it back, they would have to have a reclamation plan, and it would be a whole another project. So this one, in the form that we've seen it in the past, is done. So it's up to them to come back. I think it's important to say that this is not a county project. It's just that somebody walks in the door and wants to do a mining project. We have to process the paperwork and see that they comply with the law, and the state has to look at it before it can get to the planning commission. This one had so many problems with it, it's not going to make it to the planning commission in the form that they presented it. I would think that it could be 6 months to a year before they decide whether or not to come back. So anyway, I did check that out. So I didn't know that too, and they went down there because they've had no contact with me. One thing, in another matter, county next week is going to start rebuilding the intersection at the Wesley Triangle, the Wesley exit. That intersection has been completely torn up by the trucks, and it's not a repaving job, it's a complete remake of the road. It's going to take probably about 5 months to do it because it's going to be done in phases, so none of the businesses will have to close. But the road's going to be completely removed, and then another road put in that can handle the weight of all the trucks. So there will be some traffic delays there and lane closures. It's a small area, but it's, there's, I think, 18 businesses there. And so anyway, that's going to start probably on Monday. And then the last item I had was just, again, at the Health Summit. It is going to be, here in Newman on the 21st. The task force met about a week ago, and we decided that the way out would be on October 18th, and it will be way out at the Walnut Grove School, and that would be at beginning at 4:30. There was some problems with Gustine's people being able to come for the way out and make it back to work on time if they had to do it at 12 o'clock. Everybody seems to be fine with the way in at 12, but the distance between Gustine and Patterson was a little bit too much for them. So I talked to the Ag Commissioner, and he was fine by starting the way out at 4:30, so it will be the times of 4:30 and 6. We have 4 teams already. We would certainly hope City of Newman could put one together. You had one from Public Works last year that came in second, lost like 70 pounds, so we hope you're able to do that again this year. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
It says October 18th at the Walnut Grove School.
Yeah, Walnut Grove School, and it's on,
It's in Patterson, right? Is that in Patterson?
yeah, it's in Patterson. It's on Walnut Avenue. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but
Okay.
I remember asking the question where it was. It's on Walnut Avenue. Well, I guess that's a good place for Walnut Grove School.
Any questions or comments? from
It's
the
a K through 8 school.
gentleman? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Item 12, items from city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to take this opportunity to remind the council and invite them to, our employee appreciation luncheon. That's going to be this Thursday at the Louis J. Newman Center from 11:45 to 1 o'clock. Also, to let the public know that we will be closing the City Hall at that time, so all of our employees can enjoy the festivities. Our second outdoor movie night is coming up a week from this Saturday. That would be July 19th. The movie will be Despicable Me 2. Quite funny movie. I invite everybody to come out for that. Bring your mosquito spray. And then lastly, this coming Monday, the 14th, the election period starts, and filing for city council positions and the mayor position is available. There will be two council positions, and the mayor position up for election in our general election that's coming in November. So I can answer any questions that you may have. And if any member of the public wants election information, please contact Mike Meyer at City Hall. That'll be his baby for the next 3 or 4 months.
Thanks, Michael. Any questions or comments, city manager? Okay, we'll go to staff. Chief, anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Stephanie, anything this evening?
I just wanted to let the council know that we have an architectural review committee meeting this Thursday. A developer wants to bring his master plan for Monte Vista Estates, which is that small development off of Hardin. So once that's approved, you will be seeing some development over there. So just wanted to let the council know.
Has there been any further movement with SCM?
Yes, I think they're going through, right now we are finishing up the improvement plans, so that's the next step, and I believe they're also working with the state to get all their reconfiguration. They can't sell anything until they get certain things done with at the state level, but it's progressing.
Good, great. Okay, Lou?
Just a couple things. Auditors will be out here next week to conduct one of their 2 on-site visits where they'll give us pop quizzes and inspect all of our books. They're already requesting data from us. We've been submitting this to them, and they'll continue to do this all the way through September when they come out for their second visit. Also, treasurer's reports, because it's the end of our fiscal year, the treasurer's reports have been completed and distributed through May, but the one for June won't get distributed until after the auditors have completed their review, and they're happy that the books are the way we think they should be. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions, comments for Lou? Thank you. Kasun, anything?
So one quick update on LED streetlight project. So LED streetlight will be installed from Monday, next Monday. We are expecting that will be completed within 1 week. So actual savings starts from the following week. So the city got 0% OBF, on-bill financing program. So that loan will be paid off in 5 years. So, however, the actual savings starts from the the week of July with that project.
Questions or comments? Thank you, sir. All right, comments from council? Bertie, anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Nick? anything?
Nothing tonight.
Bob?
Just one question of the chief. You had a beautiful 4th of July, but I know there was a lot of illegal fireworks, and I just wonder if there was any problems. Because I know fire, there wasn't any problems with fires or anything, but.
There were some illegal fireworks. I think there was less than the years past.
Oh, really? Okay.
That I noticed anyway. Obviously, I believe we're going to have them every year. Not as many calls for service, and I think we had 1 DUI arrest for that night. So it was a fairly uneventful night for us.
Very good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Bob. And I'll just make comment. Last Tuesday, I had a chance to, for the first time, ride the Ace train from Lathrop into Santa Clara and visit the new 49ers Stadium at Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, with a bunch of other elected people and staff throughout the county and state and federal government. People were there. I tell you, it was quite a pleasure to ride. It was, again, it's my first time. The train was very quiet. It was comfortable. They put us all in towards the back and in the back of the train, and it's a nice kind of a leisurely ride through the foothills and over the Altamont and into Santa Clara and making stops along the way. Part of it was to show the elected officials that their plans for extending the Ace train into Modesto. There's going to be a station in Ripon, into Turlock, and eventually they want to get into Merced as well. It's $12 round trip, which I thought was pretty reasonable. And again, what impressed me more than anything else is how clean the train is. I use BART quite a bit. If you've ridden BART, it's loud, it's dirty, for the most part, I think. And I use it pretty extensively. But the Ace train was really, it was a pleasure to ride, and it was very comfortable and enjoyable. So I have some literature, and I'll leave it with City Hall staff if you make more copies if anybody is interested in learning more about the Ace train. The future, I have a schedule of where the future tracks are going to go, shows all the routes and timing and everything. So for anybody who's going to the Bay Area, it's an option to BART. And again, I found it to be very pleasurable, and it was a nice day, and plus we got to see Levi Stadium, home of the world champions next year. So
Yeah.
Not current.
no, I said next year. next year. And if you get a chance, even if you're not a Niner fan, that stadium is really something to see. We were lucky, Jeb Bjork gave us a personal tour of it. And like he said, literally, they left no stone unturned in that place. It's phenomenal. And probably, well, it will be the only time I get to sit in a luxury seat at the 50-yard line at $550 each per game per person. But every seat has Wi-Fi connectability. They have an app just about ready to be released that during game day, you can be interactive with the stadium. It's really, really cool. And it's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. So for $25, you can get a tour of the complete stadium, including locker rooms, executive suites, and everything. So it's well, even if you're not a Niner fan, just to see the technology and what they've put in place is pretty phenomenal. So with that, I'll leave the information on the Ace Train. If anybody wants it, they can come to City Hall and it can be reproduced. It is an option to BART and an option to driving in the crazy Bay Area. So, again, going through the Altamont Pass, the rolling hills, it was pretty cool. You know, it was fun. So, anyway, that's all I have. So with that, take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I second that
Motion
motion.
and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Good night, everybody.
So Mayor, just a point of clarification, Seattle is still the world champions, right?
Well, not for long.